Greetings everyone. Lately, I haven't been playing as much Marvel Rivals as I'd expect myself to be, especially with how often this game receives updates and high quality content at a fast pace. It gave me almost everything I wanted from a hero shooter. Some could argue a bit more than a certain other game. The game is by no means dying. It's still one of the most successful games out there, and I still enjoy playing it, in theory. But I just can't get myself to queue up for games anymore. Every day, I see clips of streamers unhappy to play the game.
Like, of course people are gonna quit. Like, why the fuck would I play this game if it's not gonna respect my time? I'm just not gonna play, you know?
Yeah, I'm over the rage bait. I'm over, the stream sniping. I'm over people just trying to get a one-up on there. I mean, I don't even know what it is, man. I'm just fucking over it. I can't stand it.
Or posts on social media about how people are quitting. And it got me thinking, what is actually going on with Marvel Rivals? Why are so many players quitting this game? Today, I just wanted to share some of my thoughts and issues I've been having with Marvel Rivals. Before I start talking about all the frustrations I have with the game, it is important to talk about the things the game does right. With a new hero being released each month, a new map every season which lasts 2 months, and countless skins and various cosmetics to enjoy. It would seem that myself and others would be glued to their screens 24/7, not afraid to swipe their card for the new Psylocke skin. But that isn't as true as it used to be. From the beta test, this game has received a lot of good changes. Some the community asked for, and others that were a nice surprise or addition to the game. Things like more emote slots and hero bands for lower ranks were a nice addition requested by the player base, while something more technical such as the sound design has improved significantly. So I'm on Strange. Strange one. Oh my god! You. Back Penny. Look here, you already greens. Penny unlocks 3, 2, 1. Trigger nest on left. You. With the frequency of updates, quality of life changes, and hype around new characters such as Emma Frost and Blade, Marvel Rivals should be maintaining more players than it is currently. At least you'd assume so. Granted, it is impossible to maintain a launch peak, especially one as high as 600,000. But it appears as though each season, the player base declines further and further. It feels as though the devs are listening to their player base and producing solid content for them to enjoy. So why isn't Marvel Rivals doing better? At times, it can feel as though Marvel Rivals is the infinity gauntlet of toxicity, harnessing all the rude, racist, homophobic pieces of shit from every other game to come together and tear apart lobbies with obnoxious remarks and stubborn gameplay. I've never experienced such frequency of pitiful players in any other game I've played before. The other day, I had a person purposely throw my game. They went 2-19 on Black Widow because they didn't get Psylocke when the summer skin first released. I won't spoil how it ended. Link below if you want to see that game. But with players giving up in the first few minutes of a game, throwing because they didn't get healed when they're behind 4 walls, or even getting mad at you for just speaking, it makes you wonder if there's anything the devs can really do about this without going full censorship mode, frightening players to even speak in the first place. All this behavior does is make those who want to enjoy playing Marvel Rivals stop playing altogether. Being able to play as your favorite Marvel heroes and enjoy the incredibly in-depth mechanics in combat makes Marvel Rivals a fun game. However, unless you're playing with a group of friends, which as of this video has been restricted, turns the game into a chore. I believe the rank system also has major influence on why a big part of the community is incredibly toxic. There are lots of systems in place to keep the ranked mode as engaging and rewarding as possible for players to not only keep them queuing up in hopes to hit a ranked goal, but to also help the player feel good about themselves. Up until gold rank, players benefit from the Chrono Shield system. And what this does is after playing enough matches, a player can have a loss mitigated from their record. Players also gain more than they lose, until about Diamond rank. So play enough matches, and you can at least be plat. A system like this isn't exactly competitive, because it's artificially boosting players up to where the average rank should be, and moving that peak of the bell curve to a rank titled Grandmaster. This ends up fueling the egos of mid-tiered players, because they hit a rank with a title they could never reach in other games that have similarly titled ranks. The issue isn't exactly with the game boosting the ranks of players, but more so there not being enough ranks for players to occupy and get a real average rank. With each season resetting the ranks of players, it returns every player in Celestial to top 500 back down to Diamond, where the gap in skill between players is tremendous. This isn't just an issue for high rank players, as it demotes the ranks of all players by 9 divisions every 2 months. You would think it would be for an incentive to re-climb the ladder, but it just makes it feel like you're going the wrong way on an escalator with each season reset. Since the only meaningful reward you can get in ranked is the skin for hitting gold, there's no real incentive to get high ranks other than to accomplish your own personal rank goals or feed your own ego. All this accomplishes is compressing the players together to decrease queue times across the board. Now, low queue times are nice since you get to play as many games as you want, as fast as you want. But to what extent do players want to sacrifice match quality for queue times? Every time a season resets, you don't know whether you're going to get a pro player on your team or some random player who's first timing Black Panther in your lobby because they saw a TikTok saying they're meta now. The game seems to prioritize wanting to make matches as fast as possible and keeping players close enough together to where queue times won't exceed 1 minute. You've probably heard people talk about EOMM, but just in case you haven't, I'll explain it quickly. EOMM stands for Engagement Optimized Matchmaking, and what this does is prioritize your engagement into queuing for as many games as possible, as opposed to giving balanced and skill-based matchmaking. It's a system designed to strategically keep you emotionally invested into queuing for as much as possible. If you're on a win streak, the game might give you better players to help you continue that win streak, while giving you weaker players when you're on a loss streak. This system tries to keep you emotionally invested into queuing endlessly in hopes to hit that big win streak. Now, this isn't 100% confirmed by the devs, but a lot of player experiences and discussions have suggested that this is a matchmaker system being used in Marvel Rivals.
Like, okay, if you read the Steam reviews, what's the #1 reason why people give this game a negative review? It's because of EOMM. This needs to change.
I've definitely had days where I've won 10 games in a row like it was nothing, and days where games just felt impossible to win. I've had days where I doubt my capabilities as a player, and days where I felt like a god of all timelines. But there's one thing that happens more often than I believe it should. Have you ever been just a few points off of ranking up and losing the game in the most demoralizing way possible? I've also noticed this happens when you're a few points off of a demotion, but in the opposite direction. Suddenly, I'm winning every single game until I get to be a few points off promoting again. Then the cycle repeats until I push through to the next rank. It's like the game is trying to keep me in a rank to maintain short queue times. It almost feels intended for me to be gaining or losing 19 or 24 points, so the game can min-max how many games I need to just barely kiss the edges of the ranks it wants me to be at. Every game, I wish for more worthy and challenging opponents, only to be met with more difficult teammates and easy games. It ends up feeling boring when I win a game because I know I'm better than the rank I'm currently in, with each season reset. Yes, I do wish my ranked matches were more balanced and the rank I had was more reflective of the skills I have. But if there's one thing I wish more for the game, is better balance towards the neutral combat without having to rely on CC and more consistent rules for heroes. Balance isn't a topic that you hear talked about often unless a hero completely shatters the meta. The issues I have with balance of this game revolve around the neutral combat a bit. For those who don't know, this just means any fight without ultimates. In games that are similar in skill level, you're basically trying to farm ults better than the enemy team to be able to close out fights, since both teams are hitting or missing the same amount of shots or healing the same amount. If you've watched Marvel Rivals Ignite, you'll know this to be especially true. There's very few cases where the players make a mistake and get caught out, but every fight is started and ended with ultimates, which isn't exactly a bad thing. Ultimates are exciting after all, and they can result in big game winning moments. I just feel as though it takes away from the moments between big ult fights, almost ignoring the key fundamentals needed to be a better player. Think about the games that you've played yourself. Regardless of your rank, most fights are determined by ult dominoes, where one player pops an ult, and then another player does, and then another, and then another, and then another, until a few members of a team are left. If you've been paying attention to the background footage here, you'll notice that the point hasn't even been capped until 2 full minutes have passed, with some players already on their second ultimate. The neutral fights are just a standstill when it comes to raw damage and healing numbers. But there's one outlier that seems to be creeping itself into the game, and that's crowd control. Maybe I'm noticing it more because I'm a tank and everyone aims for me because big hitbox, easy to hit, unga bunga, but my god is there a ton of it. Thankfully, there isn't a lot of hard CC like stuns and sleeves, but there's a lot of little boops and effects added that just interrupt movement and take away control of your hero. Stuff along the lines of the thing's anti-dash field and Mr. Fantastic's distended grip aren't annoying on their own, but when chained together, becomes obnoxious to face. With the roster of heroes expanding fast and the vigilance of the devs to make the game better, it seems as though more of these kind of effects get added. Thor just got the ability to ground enemies when they exit his lightning round. Blade has just joined the roster with the ability to not only apply a healing reduction to enemies, but he can also slightly boop and slow enemies with each dash. It just makes me wonder when we'll get Marvel Rivals version of XQC clip of him getting stunned for 20 seconds way back in Overwatch 1. The last comment I have on balance is the inconsistency of rules between the heroes. For example, when a hero dies, all constructibles disappear with them. Namor turrets, Groot walls, rocket beacons all disappear as soon as you eliminate them. But for some reason, Loki clones still remain on the map, letting him TP back through walls or use runes for his teammates from spawn. Another example is how most ultimates make you CC immune right when you cast them, but for some reason, Magneto can get stunned in the 0.1 second cast time of his ultimate, even when the rest of the duration he is CC immune. It's not balanced, it's just inconsistent and annoying when it does happen. For the most part, the balance of the game is pretty good. It's better to have a lot of strong and viable heroes rather than having to play or face the same 6 heroes every match. This has helped a lot with the ban system in place. But the inconsistencies in hero designs and reliance on ultimates for fights turns the game from chess into an annoying game of checkers for me personally. I just want what's best for this game, and it seems as though the devs do as well. They make so many changes with hopes to make it better, while also listening to community feedback. I still love playing the game, I just have a hard time wanting to play it at times, because I know the points I made in this video are some of the hurdles I'm going to have to get over, to even begin to enjoy it. Playing as my favorite Marvel heroes is such a fun time, and the game is genuinely fun to play. It's just the game itself is becoming harder to continue to enjoy with all these issues overshadowing the good the devs are doing. Well, that's the end of this video. If you made it this far, first of all, thank you. I hope you enjoyed hearing some of my thoughts, and I'd love to hear some of yours down below in the comment section. While you're down there, you might as well leave a like to get this video out to more people. If you're someone who's recently stopped playing, I'd like to hear about what made you quit. Was it related to something I mentioned in this video, or a completely different reason? And if you're someone who's still playing Marvel Rivals, what makes you want to keep playing? Maybe I can send some of this feedback to the devs. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.
Wait.